You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show of the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. We don't have any new callers, but we've got Nate. Nate, what's going on?
Hey, Baghdadi, it's been a while. It's Nate. I just had to stop calling because the end of the season was just disappointing to me. I didn't really think we were going to win that playoff game, so I'm gonna be frank. I didn't watch it because I knew what was going to happen. Just the tail end of the season. You know, whatever you've covered everything. I don't need to keep covering. What I did call about today, though, was simply for the upcoming draft, because I decided this year that I was going to pick a player who I think that is like the perfect Brian Gutekunst guy. Okay. So here's my Brian Gutekunst guy. I think he usually in the first round goes high athleticism, guy who maybe hasn't played very much. He's a little under experienced, but he's got all the tools. And it's usually one of those guys that you wouldn't expect. It might be a bit of a reach, so it's like a late first, early second, but we end up taking him in the 20s. I think it's going to be Landon Jackson from Arkansas. So check him out. You may have already watched some tape on him or something, but that's kind of who I'm feeling. At defensive line, it's kind of a position we need to upgrade a little bit too. So it makes a lot of sense to me. It's he never goes with like our big needs. So like we need some corners, blah blah blah. We need this, we need that, we need offensive line. I think defensive line is actually the perfect pick for him to go there. So let me know what you think. Go Pack out.
Well, it certainly makes sense. I think the only other thing I would have put in there is he likes guys from really big programs. Not that Arkansas is a small program. It's not Mike Green from Marshall or anything, but like Tyleik Williams from Ohio State kind of thing. But yeah, that is absolutely in the Packers' wheelhouse. Whether that be a first round pick or a second round pick, it certainly makes sense. It's a need for the Packers. There are a lot of edge guys, just like there are a lot of corners, which I'm excited about. They'll end up picking something not like that just to frickin' annoy me. But I have not watched Landon Jackson. Maybe I'll end up doing that tonight. I don't know. I'm getting a very late start with everything, so I don't know how much extra time I'm going to have outside of doing the podcast. But 6'7", 280, definitely not a problem there. 3 years in college. Arrow just pointed straight up 59, 76, and then 83 PFF grade over his 3 years. Just 35 pressures and 7 sacks on 362 attempts is not the greatest. Definitely more of a run defender, but still had a 72 pass rush grade. Again, I don't love that it's a sub 10% thing in college. The year before that, it was 22-7 on 221 attempts, so exactly 10%. And then the year before that was 19 in 305. So he's well below 10% over his 3 years. 76 pressures, 18 sacks, and 888 pass rush attempts. The sack numbers are relatively high, all things considered. The pressure to sack ratio is pretty high, which is important because I don't think the Packers have gotten a lot of those high, pressure to sack guys. If that even is a thing. It feels like it's a thing for some people. I don't know. Our Beast Guide overview from Texarkana, Texas, attended Pleasant Grove High School, 22 years old. Standout defensive lineman at Pleasant Grove, recorded 45 sacks during his high school career, including 17 sacks as a junior, earning him Texas Sports Writers Associated 4A Defensive Player of the Year and Max Prep's first-team All-American honors. 4-star recruit, initially committed to LSU but transferred to Arkansas after his freshman year where he became a key player for the Razorbacks. They do like the high recruit guys out of high school, too, it seems, so that probably isn't the worst thing. Junior year, first-team All-SEC honors from coaches and second-team All-SEC from the Associated Press. Named to multiple preseason award watch lists, including the Bronco Nagurski Trophy and Chuck Bednarik Award in 2024 as a senior. Unofficial 40-yard dash time, 4.68. Comps to Carl Nassib and Aiden Hutchinson. That's not the worst comp in the world for his length, motor, and versatility. Some strengths: first step quickness, length and size, capable of playing multiple techniques along the defensive line, including 4-eye and 5 technique, high motor, and high football IQ. Weaknesses include his pad level, lateral movement, pass rush moves, and his injury history where he suffered a torn ACL in high school and a broken ankle, raising durability concerns. I mean, if high school was the last time, it's obviously not that big of a deal, you wouldn't think. So there you go. Definitely something to check out. Again, I will definitely get to him eventually. I don't know if that's going to be tonight or not.
Hey, Ryan. It's Kyle from Madison.
What's up?
I brought this up kind of mid-season. I'm having a little trouble finding the statistics now. Maybe you have access to some side of stats. I don't. But like around mid-season, I was looking at the offensive snap counts where I found them online. And the Packers and basically all the Shanahan offenses were almost running half as many offensive plays as, I think the Chiefs at that time were running the most. And, I thought it was an interesting thing, but it was also only half the season, so I didn't really think too much of it. However, you mentioned, Christian Watson's dad. Now, we're assuming that some of what he says is coming from the horse's mouth, but if it is, and the receiver room's talking a little bit about how there's not enough passing plays to get in rhythm for the quarterback and the receivers, if we assume that's true, it did make me kind of, questioning things a little bit, because I know that I don't know if you have access to that, but I'm guessing probably the Niners and the Packers are in the bottom 10 teams with offensive snaps. Now, as I understand that's by design. You're trying to...
Assuming you're talking passing snaps.
...to limit the third downs you encounter, because any potential choke points, like a third down, you can get off the field with a bad penalty. You give the other team even just opportunities to get lucky. And you're trying to avoid that, so fewer snaps, fewer third downs. And I think some of it has to do with running. And if you're efficient on first down, that kind of thing. But considering that the Shanahan offenses seem to have really had a down season, and considering what his father said, if that is indeed the sentiment of the room, I guess my question is, is that something we need to look at? Because certainly the Chiefs, if they ended the season running the most plays, are a pretty good case study in why more plays doesn't necessarily equal more third down failures. Maybe it does. I don't know. You have to tell me, but I don't know. I guess I don't have an answer, but the question is just, what do we do about that, if that's true? Because certainly these guys have got to cook a little bit, and if we have a rhythm passer and we have some rhythm pass catchers, it's possible the personnel doesn't line up with the offensive philosophy. And so I don't know what we do about it, but I just want to get your take on it and see if you have any extra numbers that can illuminate some of what I'm saying here. All right, thanks.
Well, yeah, like I said, I was a little confused about what you were saying in terms of, are we talking passing or just offensive plays overall? Lack of offensive plays a lot of times would mean that you're just not getting first downs and are punting a lot generally. The only other way that you do that is you score quickly, meaning we're talking chunk plays as opposed to dinking and dunking your way down the field. So I guess I don't know exactly the angle you're coming from, but let me just throw this out there. If that is the case, that it's just, we need to get into a rhythm, how many passes does it take? Because I guess I'm a little iffy on that theory. I'm okay with it to some degree, but what is Jordan throwing, like 20 to 30 passes in a game? And it's at past 25 that he starts to get into a rhythm? How many passes does it take Pat Mahomes to get into a rhythm? 1, 2? I don't know. It's kind of an iffy. It's kind of an iffy thing for me to begin with. And if we're just talking about throughout the season, I don't know that even helps because, how long throughout the season does it take Mahomes? Week 2? And we're talking Jordan never gets into a rhythm until halfway through the game is over. I don't know. And then are we talking we're not practicing it enough? Because I don't know why that would be. How many, again, compare it to other quarterbacks. How many, is Mahomes getting like 400 passes in a week and Jordan's getting 20? Like, what are we doing? I don't understand specifically what the claim is. We're running too much. Okay, well, how much, how much passing do you need? If it was the case that every other NFL team, it was by the 10th, 12th, 15th pass, but they throw it 50 times so they can overcome that, and Jordan only throws it 15, 20 times, then okay, we got something to talk about here. But, if Jordan's throwing it 20 times and he's still not in a rhythm, and, he picks it up around past 25 and then the game's almost over, and other guys are throwing it 35 times as opposed to, 28, 30. Come on. These are stupid excuses. It's not to say that there's nothing to it, but I don't know how we can't, by week 18 and 19, into the playoffs, with all the work that they've put in, Jordan and Reed and Jordan and Tucker and Jordan and Dobbs and Jordan and Wicks, all the work that they've put in over that entire year, over all the weeks of practice, all the weeks of playing in football games, we're saying, yeah, but they throw the ball 5 to 10% less than other teams. And again, the problem is, yeah, but these other teams got into a rhythm halfway through week 1 or week 2 or 3. So the bottom line is, look at offenses where it was working and tell me how many passes it took before they got into a rhythm, and then tell me how many passes Jordan threw by the end of the year. And again, if it's a week-to-week thing, okay, how many passes does it take everybody else in a game? I understand that happens sometimes. We do that with Rodgers once in a while. You kind of get, and it's not every week. It's like sometimes something's just not clicking. So you dial up, maybe on that first drive, things are a little rocky. So the next drive, you dial up a little screen pass or something because you're just trying to get that first one under your belt, get into a little rhythm, whatever. We're throwing screens, we're throwing everything else, and there's never a time where it clicks. It just never clicks. None of that stuff is helping. So, I don't know. Maybe there's something else to it than that. I don't know, but I just, I don't know. The more I think about all these different reasons, the more I feel like really bad excuses. And what is the fix? Here, let me look up how many passes Jordan threw. Threw 33 passes in the game against the Eagles. Jalen Hurts threw 21. Pat Mahomes in the game against the Buffalo Bills threw 26 passes. How many did it take him to get into a rhythm? Josh Allen threw 34. He didn't play as good of a game as Pat Mahomes did, at least according to the grade. I don't know. Could try passing more. I just think it's going to lead to more bad passes is where I think it leaves us. But, maybe.
I love to hear Kraft and Jacobs come out with just this emphatic message of, either you're going to live up to the standard or you're not going to be on this team. They both really sounded like they meant it. And yeah, of course, who's not down with that? But it did leave me a little confused, man, and maybe you can help me out. Because it just seemed like they were really talking about people. You're not going to say that immediately after a loss unless you got people in mind. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking to myself, who are they talking about, though? There was a lot of guys that just kind of didn't live up to it, but I doubt they're calling out the quarterback,
Yeah.
Are they, are we talking about Josh Myers? Like, who are they talking about? It just felt like they had somebody in mind. And I did Jair? I don't know. It just seems weird that those would be the immediate comments of two of the more physical guys in the team.
Well, I think, there's always stuff going on behind the scenes. There's people that are, bad-mouthing or who knows what's going on. You know what I mean? Like think about how much drama is going on in a locker room and how many comments are being made and how many guys are, you roll your eyes because they're constantly complaining or whatever the case may be. They know who they're talking about. we don't know who they're talking about. I don't think they're talking about Myers. You could possibly look at a guy like Romeo Dobbs or Jair. I think this stuff happens all the time. It just doesn't usually get back to us. We knew about Za'Darius eventually, but I'm sure that was bubbling for some time. Like I said, I've had my theories or thoughts about sort of the DB room when it was Rasul and Jair and Devondre Campbell and not that he's a DB, but you get what I'm saying. Like there were just these guys that I think had a bad attitude about the team and everything. And most of those guys are gone. Za'Darius is gone. Devondre is gone. Rasul is gone. Jair obviously was lingering. I was hoping he was not a part of that, but it's starting to feel like he was. But there's some people that are bought in, and they're a part of the team. They believe, they're believers, and they're forging ahead. And there's other guys that are sort of bad mouthing the team and are whining and complaining all the time. And I think some of the people are just kind of done with it. Would be my assumption.
Unless they had people in mind,
Yeah.
So who are they talking about? Like, I'm sure there's a couple people to choose from, just from the everyman like me that's watched the game. Like, okay, this didn't go so good, but most of the guys were up or down. Like Bullard had a couple horrible games, and he had a couple rebound games. He's a rookie, so I don't know. I mean, are they hating on Myers that much? It seems. I don't know. I don't know who we're talking about unless it's Jair. I don't know. To come out with a unified message like that without somebody in mind would be silly. So I'm just wondering if we can decipher anything from that statement about, the locker room or what they think of the locker room, because it's kind of an enigma, and I want your thoughts.
I mean, yeah, I listed the two more obvious ones. You hope that it's not bigger than that, especially in terms of, you try to avoid all the players that are really good. You don't want to, I'm just bringing up a random name. I have no reason to believe it, but, Zach Tom or, Elton or, whatever. I mean, could be, well, I don't think so. I don't know. I guess it's kind of process of elimination. You want to remove the names that are seen as sort of the face of the organization, the one that Matt LaFleur would bring up as the guys that are doing things right. And Josh Myers is on that list. People that are looked up to and respected. But like everything, man, answers will come in sooner than later. We'll find out soon enough. If the Packers really do mean what they're saying, they're not going to put up with it, and they will be gonzo. Not everyone that leaves is a part of the problem, obviously. I think Josh Myers is a good chance he will not be back, and I don't think it's because he's a problem as much as he's just not a very good football player. But, yeah, we'll see, man. Let's take a break, and we got Joe the janitor going to hit us up. All right, we'll be right back.
Hey, Ryan. It's Joe.
Hey.
Janitor.
What's up?
From Connecticut. How's it going, buddy?
Good. How are you?
So, yeah, wanted to touch on the Bears and the hiring of Ben Johnson real quick. I want to say one thing. I hope he enjoyed beating us twice a year, because that shit's not going to happen anymore. The Bears, I mean, they seriously think that they could beat us twice a year. Sad. But the fact that Ben Johnson gave props to the Vikings and the Lions coach and just basically said he enjoys beating our coach. Disrespectful, blatantly disrespectful.
Yep.
And I don't know who Ben Johnson thinks he is, but he's probably going to fail with the Bears like every other head coach has.
He tried to walk that back a little later. I forgot he was doing some kind of an interview, and he's like, just like I said before, I respect all these coaches, man. They're all so impressive. It's like, yeah, it's not what you said, though, is it, Jagoff? It's not exactly what you said.
In the past 40 years I've been alive. So, actually, 1985, I guess I was alive in 85, but I was still pooping in my diapers.
Okay.
So, Ben Johnson is a penis. And that's about all I got to say about that. Anyway, I hope you're having a good off season. And I'm excited to watch the championship and hopefully watch the Bills beat on the Chiefs. Be happy, make me happy. And the Eagles losing, well, definitely would make me happy also. A little jealous of Jaden Daniels. When you look at Jordan Love, but it's all good. Anyway, I'll call back. Ben Johnson, what a loser. Shalom.
Well, I tell you what, if things go like we all hope that they're going to go, which is, you got on one hand everything going about as well as they could possibly go for the Bears. I mean, starting again with Caleb Williams. I mean, this quarterback from heaven descends upon the earth and goes to the Chicago Bears, and then the greatest coach in the history of the known universe decides to go to the Bears, and then they start hiring this dream team of coaches from all across the globe that have descended to Chicago, Illinois, to coach up the greatest team that has ever been and ever will be. That's on one side. On the other side, it's Chicago, and they can't do anything right, and they're going to suck forever. We'll see which one wins out, but I tell you what, Lions fans and Packer fans are going to have a lot of fun if this thing goes south for them. Not to say, Vikings fans won't join in, but Lions fans are out for blood, and I'm always out for blood when it comes to Chicago because I just don't like them ever since Fields. I just have not been a huge fan of that fan base. And until they revert back to what they were from 2010 through, 2019, whenever it was Fields got drafted, until they get back to that, it's open season. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that it's going to be a lot of fun and it's going to end in complete disaster. And I'm excited to be able to just kick up my feet and let Lions fans do most of the work for me. And we just get to reap the rewards of lots of laughing and joy. If not, well, then, we got 4 good teams in the NFC North, and it's going to be a frickin' slog, and may the best man win, I guess, It's how she goes.
Hey, Ryan, it's Garrett from Southern Illinois.
Hey.
So the dust has settled with a lot of these coaches, and Chicago now seems to have, their offense coordinator, defense coordinator. Now they got Rizzi also on their staff. They seem to be, at least at looking at it from the surface, they've made the right hires. Now,
to be clear, I don't think Rizzi is going to end up going to Chicago, unless something happened that I missed. But they didn't end up hiring him last I knew, and it sounds like they're not expected to. So I don't think they got that one.
That translate to winning. I think it gives them a better chance, and you can't argue that the Bears don't have talent, but you still have the culture, you still have the ownership, you still have just the history of the Bears doing Bears things. But they do seem to be on the rise, and I think if Goody is going to back up, what he said in his news conference when he talked about, a sense of urgency, which I want to ask you, which area do you think he's going to focus more with urgency? His draft, and maybe either moving up and getting a blue chip like you think he should, and being super aggressive that way, or I think he hit home runs with both Xavier and with Josh Jacobs last year. Guys that this time last year we were saying this right what we're saying now. I mean, those would be at least, Xavier was the guy. He was the guy that we were all hoping that they would get, but didn't really put a lot of hope thinking that it would happen, but it did. And on top of that, they got Josh Jacobs. So does the urgency translate into free agency again this year? And who would they go get? Because I know a lot of people speculate, Crosby, but does he even come available? And can they really afford, a $35 million salary, whatever they're throwing out there? But you made a really compelling argument with Khalil Mack. I think if he is hitting the free agent market, he seems like a legitimate guy. I think that they could bring in that could still make a difference with this team. So I think there's guys to be found. It's the key thing is finding the right ones. But I hope that they do find them, because I do feel like this the NFC North is going to be one heck of a fight going forward.
My thought has always been that the Packers want to make sure that going into the draft they're not desperate. And so considering, you pair that with the fact that they should be in a pretty good spot financially, I tend to think they're going to be pretty aggressive in free agency. Now, you can't just magically manifest things. People have to be available, and then, you have to win out and actually get those guys. I don't know who, for example, if they want a pass rusher, is going to be available to them. And so if there's nothing there, then you can only do so much. But I do think that they recognize that they really want to try to get some, I don't know if top tier play. You know what I mean, though. They want to make sure that they feel comfortable with the situation that they're in. As far as I think pass rush, I think is going to be a big one, as well as corner. I don't really know, but those are the two that I think are going to be pretty big for them. And I think, most teams probably do this. I think the Packers are especially, they hate being desperate in the draft. They really do. They want to be able to do their best player available thing. They don't want to feel obligated to have to give away draft capital, especially next year or something, to do something crazy and aggressive and trade all the way up and get this guy because they feel like everything depends on it, kind of a thing. Now, the interesting thing will be, what if they don't get a lot done in free agency? Now you start to wonder, if they tried to get some things done and it just didn't materialize, how aggressive are they going to have to be in the draft? But that would be my thought, is they're going to try to be as aggressive as they can in free agency so that they don't have to be aggressive in the draft. But we'll see how that all plays out.
Yo, Ryan, it's your uncle, Rico.
What's up?
I just wanted to say, is everybody smoking the peyote?
Maybe.
What's going on? Wanting to bring in veterans for backup roles for some kind of moral support. So we're going to bring in some washed up veteran because we think he'll be respected and going to take somebody's roster spot for somebody who's going to play 20% of the snaps.
Who are we talking about?
Let's put some thought into this. We got up and comers and we're going to replace them with who? Somebody nobody wants anymore, and we're going to pay them a salary other teams don't want to pay them just for some kind of, I don't know what, like, hey, Dad, how did you make that tackle back in '78? Come on, guys, let's get on the freaking, All right. Sometimes I get a little wild. Go Pack, go. Rico out.
Trying to think here. Give me a minute. Give me a minute to think what the heck we're talking about. Might just be talking generally here. I can't get Devontae out of my head is the only person. Who else are we talking about? I don't think you're talking about Max Crosby, because he's, 27, 28, something like that. He's not super washed up. But yeah, in general, as far as just bringing in old people for the sake of being old because we don't like being the youngest team, and that would make us not the youngest team or something, it's very short-sighted and stupid. Just go get good football players. I don't care if they're 21, 29, whatever they are. But yeah, I think there's an overemphasis. I mean, there's sort of a backlash to the young team thing, right? We happen to be young, and people are mad because we're young and we lost, and so it's like, well, young is bad, therefore old must be better, so now we need to get older, and it's like, okay, well, no. I'm going to go with no.
Yo, Ryan, it's your uncle, Rico.
Yo.
Hey, I just realized I was a D-bag.
Oh, boy.
I called in and tried to squash somebody's idea without even offering a solution. You know what? Because I don't have a solution. I'm a D-bag. I don't know. Maybe coaches, I just don't see bringing in people for, we have talent, bring in talent. And if we have problems in certain positions, is it a talent thing or is it an education thing? So
Either we need to replace bad players with better players, or we need to educate the players we have. And I don't think bringing in somebody who is not going to contribute with their play enough to warrant their spot on the team and their salary, that's foolish to me. So bring in a coach that'll make it work, or a plan. I don't know. Like I said, I don't really have an answer. I just don't like the idea of burning up roster spots just to put age on the team. It seems foolish. We're getting rid of aged players, and not on purpose because they're old, on purpose because they're not holding up their end of the deal. And they're getting replaced by younger players because they're more talented or more capable, whatever that is. I don't really care. You can wipe the whole age thing off the board. It means nothing. Like when a quarterback is drafted or a player's drafted and they say, oh, he's already 27 years old. I don't care how old he is. Does he play football and does he play it well? That's all that matters to me. Age is only a number. I can say that because I'm old and stuff. So.
Well, and it's, like I said, I think it's because we lost and because we're young that people get upset. Nobody seems to be upset with Washington winning, with their rookie quarterback and everything. Youth is only a problem when it's not working. So I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of thought being put into it. Maybe we need some veteran leadership, but that's more of a personality than an age, in my opinion. And generally speaking, I would, all things being equal, prefer young for obvious reasons. I mean, their bodies tend to hold up better. They got a longer trajectory here in, on our team, less of a chance that they're on the tipping point of completely falling off. But I don't really care. We just need guys that can play football at a high level.
I'm like Jordan Love, if he would have been his age now when we drafted him and he came in and started right away, what's the difference? He sat on the bench for years, burning up his youth anyways. You know what I'm saying? If that makes any kind of sense. I don't think the age thing has any bearing on anything. Sure, it's cool when you draft some 18-year-old kid like Braylon Allen or something, and hopefully you're going to have him for 15 years, but something like that. But it's not the part of the equation I think about. It's a cool factor. I mean, it'd be cool too if you brought in a 76-year-old guy and he was a bad MF, but I'm just being dumb now. All right, Rico out. Sorry for being a D-bag. Later.
No, that's fine. All right, let's take our final break. We'll come back. We got A.A. Ron from Eau Claire.
What's up, Ryan? Double A Ron from Eau Claire.
What's up?
You mentioned in one of the recent responses to my calls that it sometimes sounds like I'm on a boat, which is funny. I'm usually just in my car, but it just might have sounds that kind of sound like a boat for some reason. So, anyways, I wish I were on a boat. That'd be pretty fun.
All right.
But I was just going to call in with a little funny, jokey idea. Tucker Kraft could be a sponsor for Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be fun. That's all.
So, that kind of already happened. I don't know how, official it is or whatever, but I know Kraft Mac and Cheese sent them a big care package. He and his girlfriend or wife or whatever did a whole video unboxing it, and there was a giant box of mac and cheese in there, and then I think either inside of that or something, I don't know, was a bunch of actual boxes of mac and cheese, and they actually rebranded all the boxes to say Kraft Yak and Cheese instead of mac and cheese for, yak, yards after catch and whatnot. So there's that.
One more off-the-wall idea here. Since the Packers, we've been talking about how they're kind of a little more quiet bunch or whatever than maybe some of the other NFL teams with more like what do you say, sociopath on the team. Anyways, maybe what we need to do is get Will Ferrell to come to the sidelines during the games and just scream people out, like comedically almost, but like have him do his thing where he's like pretending to be super, super serious and like over the top.
Get off
because
the shed
then
kind of thing.
You'd still kind of have that injection of energy, but everyone would know it was kind of jokey, but at the same time, it would sort of, you know what I mean? Like, so then Matt LaFleur could just do his job, and all the coaches can worry about football, and then Will Ferrell can go around and be like, "Come on, you guys, what's going on? Look alive!" You know, all that funny stuff. Doesn't have to be Will Ferrell. Could be someone else. Could be Adam Sandler. Could be you
can do it.
But
Schneider.
I don't know, man. Maybe just getting a hype guy. Maybe getting a guy to just get in people's faces. Maybe the players would hate that. But maybe it would make them play better. So do they really hate it? I don't know. It's kind of a dumb idea, to be honest, but sometimes dumb ideas are actually smart ideas. So maybe this is one of them. That's it.
Well, you took all the steam out of me making fun of you at the end there, but yeah, maybe we hit the drawing board and circle back to it. Hey, Ron, just a thought, you know. That or let's flesh out the Will Ferrell thing a little bit more. You can do it and all that. I don't know. We'll think it over.
Hey Ryan, it's Drew from Green Bay. I'm just gonna keep calling in with different prospects I like, and I've been hitting offensive tackles hard lately, and Josh Simmons really stood out to me. Actually, in the first round, I feel like offensive tackle would make a lot of sense as a dark horse, because do we really want to rest on Rasheed Walker, who's going into the last part of it, last year of the season, and if he's going to get paid quite a bit because he has been able to pass block, but he can't really run block, and I just feel like we're going to be settling for average for a long time if we re-sign him. And I would really like to get a star at left tackle. Or even if we move Zach Tom to left tackle and then get someone else to play right tackle. So I think there's room for a tackle in the first round. And I see a lot of good prospects. And I went back and I looked. We're picking 23rd. On average, there were about 4 linemen taken above the 23rd pick in a lot of these years. Last year, I think it was 6. A lot of years it was 2. But somewhere around 4. And I see it's 5 to 6 prospects. There's a couple more linemen I have to watch yet, but I watched all the top 100, and there's 5 to 6 that I'd be really comfortable with in the first round. And Josh Simmons, he really stands out, and he played for San Diego State early on, and then transferred, had a lot of penalties early, and then last year he actually he started for Ohio State at left tackle when he had been playing right tackle at San Diego State, I believe, he played a lot better, but then he got injured against Oregon. And so I just see a really good prospect that's going to get knocked down a lot because of how his career went, and I think he could be a gem that shouldn't be anywhere near number 23 overall, but he probably will fall because of all of that injury and stuff. So, but he tore his ACL. It was in October. It was early in his season, so he should be ready to go for next year. So overall, I think. What do you think, Josh Simmons from Ohio State? All right, bye.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, right now on the consensus board, he's at 18, which would mean he'd be gone before he gets to us. But you're right. When a guy like that has a severe injury, it's unlikely that it wouldn't negatively impact him. Now, it's possible he would have been a top 10 guy if not for the injury. I don't really know, but I certainly think it's possible he could end up sliding as a result of that. I think the only, and I've said this before, I'm fine with going out and getting as much competition as you can. I would just be concerned that we're not going to get somebody better than Rashid. And that might seem silly, but, you can't settle for somebody who is a lesser pass blocker just because they happen to be a better run blocker, right? Because that's kind of the issue with Rashid, is that, he's a good pass blocker, but there's no run blocking there. And so, he would have to be at least as good at pass blocking and an upgrade at run blocking. And the other issue I have with that is, how much are we really upgrading the team overall? We still don't have pass rush. We still don't have any corners. Arguably we have issues at wide receiver. We have serious issues on the interior offensive line. And maybe all we did was upgrade the run blocking of our left tackle, and we have a really good pass blocking left tackle that is now a backup. So I'd be very much in favor if we can just luck into a Zach Tom and put him at left tackle. And to be fair, we did draft a tackle last year in the first round. The assumption is he's going to stay on the interior, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. Obviously, if he has the ability to be a massive upgrade at left tackle, they'll do that, but I'm guessing he's going to end up playing on the interior. I don't know. But yeah, we'll see, man. I would be a little wary of that, I guess, for that reason, because I just don't know how much of a massive upgrade it is, and I feel like there's a better chance of us going backward than there is of us actually upgrading it. It's possible, but, again, even if, let's take a look at the tackles that got drafted. Rasheed Walker had an 80 pass blocking grade this past year, and the highest pass blocking grade of any rookie that actually started was Joe Alt. He had a 78, so he was not as good. So, Joe Alt was, you could argue that would be an upgrade because he had a 70 run blocking and a 78 pass blocking, which is a little worse, but we can call it, for argument's sake, about as good. The problem is Joe Alt, first of all, where did he get drafted? Joe Alt got taken number 5 overall. On top of that, he was one of 21 tackles, which is to say that 20 other tackles that got drafted are worse than Rasheed Walker. The only other 2 that had even good pass blocking grades were Tylen Grable, who only played 4 games and had a 45 run blocking grade, and Christian Jones, who played in 2 games and had a 49 run blocking grade. As far as guys that actually started, the next best was Roger Rosengarten, 69 pass blocking, 60 run blocking. So, again, actually drafting someone that's going to come in and be better than Rasheed, a lot harder than it would seem, I think, is sort of the issue that I'm having. All right, Uncle Rico, let's call this the last one, eh?
Yo, Ryan, it's your Uncle Rico.
Yo.
Oh, I've been listening to a couple things here and there, and for the last week or whatever about the Eagles fan that was a jerk to that young lady, and that wasn't cool at all. And I just kind of want to put my 2 cents in, and maybe a good majority of the Eagles fans are real jackwagons. It seems like you hear a lot of stories about them, but I just want to say that we don't want to throw the whole fan base under the bus.
No.
No. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's like that. Maybe a bunch. Maybe it's just bad out there. But in Green Bay, if something like that were to happen, I'm sure it happens where some Green Bay fan gets drunk and is an idiot, and or even if they don't get drunk, they're just not a good person or a smart person or whatever, and they can't watch a game without being rude or disrespectful or outright douchey to the opposing team's fans. I get it. You give them a little ribbon, maybe you jack them up a little bit, but there's a line, right? So anyways, I just wanted to say that one bad apple can ruin the batch type thing, so we just got to be careful what we say, because there's undoubtedly been a time or two where our own fans have been not what we want, you know what I mean? Whatever the word would be, not ideal. So, and we, I just don't, if something like that happens in Green Bay, all the Green Bay fans are this or all the Green Bay, and I guess there's a fine line too. You've talked about that, Ryan, where we need to stand and we need to, at the game, we need to be the fans that are influencing the point where there's a fine line between being a super fan and being a stupid fan. So, I mean, if you sat respectfully through the whole game and hugged all the opposing team's players, that's maybe a little too far, right? But anyways, I just want to say that let's not judge the entire Eagles fan base based on this one guy. And I mean, definitely it's an issue and whatnot. But yeah, the guy got fired, I heard, but his company said also maybe to be PC that they wish him well and maybe therapy or something. I'm not sure. Anyways, go Pack, go. Let's be smart fans. Let's, forgot to tell you, one time I went to a game in Kansas City, Monday Night Football, 100 years ago, and my buddy got his nose broke right in the stadium. So that's how I feel about the Chiefs. Hate them Chiefs.
Well, I would never judge a fan base based on one guy. I'd judge them based on every single one of these douchebags. I mean, this has been everybody knows what these guys are about, and it's been like this for a long time. There was just a video today after the Washington game. A couple people from Washington, and it was 20, 30 people just mobbing them. I'm not talking about actually physically assaulting them, but circling them, yelling at them, swearing at them. Somebody stole their hat, all kinds of stuff. Same with this other situation. If it was one guy, that's one thing, but what about the 20 people around him that didn't say anything? That's also a problem. I mean, they're very well known for being these loud, obnoxious scumbags, and this is your reputation. This is what you've earned, and if you don't like it, then do something about it. Stand up for people that are being assaulted in your stadium. But they don't. They're the ones that'll, there's another video that I talked about before too, where the players are coming out of the hotel, and there's 20 scumbags lined up, screaming, swearing at them. It's just who they are. So, I don't really care. I'll sink the whole fan base. They're all scumbags, and everybody knows different fan bases. The Raiders fans back when they were in LA were notorious for being violent and all this stuff. It wasn't just some made up narrative. It's a real thing. It doesn't matter if it's not all. I don't give a crap about not all. This is who they are, and everybody understands that. And I don't feel any remorse whatsoever for the way that they're perceived, because it's the way that they treat people, and it's ridiculous that you can be that big of scumbags. I don't know what the heck is going on in Philadelphia. It's kind of the reputation you would expect from like New York, but as far as I know, this isn't happening. I mean, I know the Giants and Jets are in New Jersey, but I haven't heard of things like that coming out of there, or even, Yankees games for that matter. It's Philadelphia. So I have no idea what's going on over there, but they have a very long-standing reputation, and you see this every single time there's anything to do with Philadelphia fans. There's all these videos coming out constantly, and I've never once seen this coming out of Lambeau Field. In fact, I've heard multiple times, so it's a couple people make up some bull crap, but multiple times people from other stadiums coming to Green Bay talking about how friendly they are. And it was just Jersey Mike talking about he went to Washington. Very friendly fans. A lot of fan bases are very friendly and cordial. Vikings fans have a really bad reputation as well for treating people like crap, especially Packer fans. I think even more so than Chicago fans. So no, I don't feel bad for calling it like it is. If that's how you want to treat people, then that's how you I'm not going to give you the benefit of the doubt. That's the reputation you want. That's the reputation you get. But anyways, I'm going to get out of here. Got to do tomorrow's podcast and whatnot. You guys have a good rest of your night. I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.